The rankings there would not reflect at the moment that the committee has a high regard for those teams in the American. So we've seen how it shakes out with Georgia and Alabama leading the way, somewhat surprisingly, Michigan State, Oregon, and then Ohio State, Cincinnati. Big picture, Kirk, what's your reaction to it?
Well, the focus on Cincinnati, a group of 5 team. We've been here before where, the people talk about a ceiling and how it's unfair. The reality is this. If you're a Cincinnati fan, you're pulling for the Georgia Bulldogs to win the rest of their games, including the SEC championship. That would eliminate, obviously, Alabama. After that, you're looking at the Big Ten. You have Ohio State, you have Michigan, you have Michigan State. That potentially works itself out with one of those surviving as a Big Ten champion. Now, don't forget this, Cincinnati fans. It's not just what's in front of you, it's what's behind you. If Oklahoma keeps winning, and they've got some behemoth games on their schedule coming up with Baylor, Iowa State, and Bedlam on the road in Stillwater against Oklahoma State, and a Big 12 championship, you have to worry about what's behind you, not just what's in front of you. So clearly, the Bearcats are going to need some help.
And what he referenced, what's behind you, the team sitting at number 10, they need Notre Dame to finish strong. And Notre Dame, like Kirk alluded to at the open of the show, Notre Dame doesn't have a whole lot of meat left on the bone. They should, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion, but they should feel real strongly about the likelihood of them finishing at 11-1. So I think Cincinnati is well positioned, but they need to be rooting for other outcomes. Just like Kirk said, Notre Dame, by the way, being 11-1 is massive for the Cincinnati Bearcats. They need to be pulling hard for the Fighting Irish every single week. And Notre Dame, can they lose at Virginia? Perhaps, if Virginia's defense wants to go hire Tony Bennett, their basketball coach, as a potential defensive analyst. But I look at the things that are going on behind Cincinnati. I'm almost more fascinated with 7 through 10 because of Wake Forest being undefeated, because of Oklahoma being undefeated. Even if you want to extend it just a little bit further, with Baylor at 12 and Oklahoma State at 11, teams that are ranked right now 7 through 12 could easily overtake Cincinnati if things kind of fall the way they potentially fall. The only one that can't, in my opinion, would be Notre Dame, who, of course, lost there against the Bearcats earlier in the year.
Let me be clear. That feels disrespectful to Cincinnati. They have a top 10 win on the road against a Notre Dame team. That feels disrespectful to me to have them at number 6. Now, not being in the top 4, understandable somewhat. You can make some arguments. But you're right. Cincinnati's situation and where they're at right now with what they have left, that might be their ceiling. I don't agree with that ranking. I don't agree that Alabama sitting at number 2 is a foregone conclusion. If they play in a close game against Georgia, how far they fall. We just watched Michigan not fall very far, losing to number 3 in Michigan State. I understand what you're about to say. Alabama has received more respect in this poll than I thought they would after watching the second half against Florida, after losing to a Texas A&M team that had lost 2 games in a row and didn't look very good, and they went in and dominated up front against the Alabama team. They give them respect. I'm okay with that. Cincinnati's disrespected in this poll.
But you said, okay, real fast here, but you said, okay, with not being in the top 4, there's only one more spot before they go to the top 4.
But that one spot matters to Cincinnati. Every single spot, because we're talking about Cincinnati and what they have to look behind them, because they need so much help to make a move, as if the win against Notre Dame on the road doesn't mean anything. I think the committee is saying that style points do matter, and those last 2 weeks matter.
The last 2 hurt them for sure.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.